What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Mr. Mustache MMA News. Today, I want to discuss last Saturday's UFC Noche from top to bottom in its entirety. But guys, before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly. Help the channel grow. All right, guys, getting right into it. Kavanagh shocks the world, short notice, unranked, taking on the former two-time flyweight champion in Brandon Moreno, at the time ranked number 4 in the world, and went out there and had a decisive victory. Kind of beat Brandon up the first 2 rounds, just using his size, using his strength, his explosiveness, his range, and just really just kind of beat up on Moreno, just kind of bullied him out there and fought confident, used really good feints to get Moreno to kind of bite off of those and then just kind of catch him off of his own combinations. Those leg kicks were fucking nasty. By the end of the second round, Moreno was just beat up everywhere. The face, the leg, just everywhere. He was kind of just getting beat up. He was able to slow the fight down rounds 3 and 4, kind of get a couple rounds back, but going into that 5th round, he just didn't have it. Kavanagh was just kind of too big. He had too much in the tank at that point, and Moreno was just kind of a little bit too beat up by the time the 5th round came along. And talk about making the best of your situation. The UFC this year, they've really made some strange choices and really pushing a lot of their young guys up against their current top veterans, guys that really don't, or most people wouldn't say are not deserving of the shot, right? We've been just seeing a lot of weird rematches, the Diego Lopez, Paddy Pimblett getting the shot against Gaethje, just weird fights that don't always make sense, but here totally paid off. And Kavanagh went out there, made the most out of his opportunity, is now probably going to be in the top 5 the UFC flyweight division. And it just, coming off that knockout loss only makes Charles Johnson look that much better, right? But it's like, what do you do with Kavanagh now? Because now he kind of has his pick of the litter. You don't really give him, and flyweight now is just interesting because you had guys where you had Moreno, right? You had Pantoja, you had Royval, who kind of like held that top 3 position for the division for a while. And, and now you kind of have the new guys coming up. Even a Kai Kara-France in there. And now you have Joshua Van. You have Tyra. Kavanagh. You have these guys who are now just completely new, just whole new crop of opponents and matchups that we can make here. Flyweight is now very interesting in the UFC. And as for Moreno, right, now 2 losses pretty quickly in a row that really hurt his stock, but he's only 32 years old. He seems stressed this week. Am I the only one that thought that? He just really didn't seem like himself. I don't want to take anything from Kavanagh, right? But he just seemed distracted throughout the whole fight week. He seemed perturbed, right? He just didn't seem to be himself. So I just like to see Moreno just take a little bit of time away, come back. I'm sure he's probably going to be ranked, 5, 6, 7. And just kind of see where we go from there. Let the division play out. Let some of these new up-and-comers, have their matchups, have their time, and just kind of come back. At the end of this year, I think would probably be the best for Brandon Moreno. Next up, David Martinez defeated Chito Vera. And, Chito did what Chito does. He just let the first 2 rounds kind of get by him and let himself lose to just inactivity, right? And going into the 3rd round, his opponents really, especially with David, who was, throwing a lot of volume the first 2 rounds, he was really just outpacing Chito those first 2 rounds. But Chito was doing really good at pressure. He was doing really good at keeping David on his back foot. So once we got into that 3rd round, you saw the fatigue wear all over David Martinez, and Chito was really starting to take advantage of that in the 3rd round. It was just a little like a too little too late moment for Chito. He's the type of guy, his style, it's fitting for 5 rounds. It's almost insulting to see him fight a 3-round fight, but it's like you have to go out there and win, right? You have to go out there and put on these performances, and it's like now he's losing time and time again just because it's like it just seems like he's stuck in his own head out there. He's thinking too much. I hate to say the word taking pictures, but it's just like it's waiting for his moment, and it just never really truly comes, and he realized, okay, now I have to like pull the trigger. It's like he thinks he can just kind of get it done when he wants to, and it's just it's frustrating because you know that he's better than the performances that he's putting on, right? But, you know, it's a tough sport. It's a tough fucking sport. You have a guy out there who's trying to fucking rip your head off. Tough, 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 tough. Next up, Bobby Green shocks the world again, knocking out Daniel Zellhuber. And, you know, I wasn't too surprised. We saw the fight, that Daniel's last fight against Michael Johnson, where Michael was just really able to slow the fight down with his speed and his veteran ability, and just letting kind of Daniel fall into his traps and making him pay, and just getting him frustrated and getting him off of his game and getting off of his rhythm and his timing. And Michael was able to go out there and, you know, surprise a lot of people, right? Because Daniel is at one point very, you know, a very highly regarded prospect. Tall, long, lanky, explosive, versatile, knockout power, confidence at times when he's the hammer, but it seems like when he isn't the hammer, when he's going off of his back foot, he struggles. He struggles with speed. He's not really used to getting beat up on, it seems like. And here with Bobby Green, he was able to just find the button, use his speed, and let Daniel fall into his own traps yet again. Because he fights long, but he has an inability to exit out of his combinations. And that's kind of where a lot of these veterans, guys who've been there, done that, they can really take advantage of that, especially with their speed. Their ability to get in and out is so elite that they can kind of take advantage of his inability to do so. We saw that here. Now, I know Michael Johnson's fighting Drew Dober, but I think no matter what happens with Michael Johnson and Drew Dober, I want to see Michael Johnson and King Green. That's what I want to see. I don't care. That, to me, is like a dream fight. I don't even know if they fought. They've been around so long. It's like maybe they might have fought in the past, but I want to see it happen again if it did. I don't care. I don't care. I want to see it happen again. Next up, guys, Edgar Chairez defeated Felipe Buenas in a just back and forth fight where Edgar is just a dog. What I like about Edgar Chairez, right? He has that killer instinct. He's got knockout power. Yeah, he leaves his chin up, and that's kind of why he kind of takes losses sometimes. But he doesn't only headhunt, right? He picks his shots very well. He mixes it up very well. He's always has his opponents on the back foot. He utilizes really good pressure, but also fights off of his back foot as well. And he was just able to overwhelm Felipe throughout the entirety of the fight, and just kind of just impose his will. But even though Felipe was landing some good shots at times, Edgar was just leading the dance, doing enough, just controlling the octagon, controlling where the fight took place, and just kind of big brothered Felipe out there a little bit, right? But big win for Edgar Chairez. Impressive victory. Next up, Imanol Rodriguez, battles back to knock out Kevin Borjas in the second round, where, immediately in the first round, gets dropped, I'm pretty sure twice, by Kevin, had to survive, got the fight to the ground, and was able to just survive the first round, just kind of through, just safety of top control and top pressure over Kevin in the rest of the first round. But it wasn't looking good for him. It was like, welcome to the UFC moment for Imanol. But he was able to go out there, and, sometimes when you get that adrenaline dump, kind of seemed to be the case with Kevin Borjas in this fight. Going into that second round, Imanol was able to survive, and he kind of had to battle back, where Kevin had that early success, didn't get the finish, and then got taken down, so he had that adrenaline dump. So going into that second round, you see that momentum shift, and Imanol was able to really take advantage of that. It's impressive to see. It was fun to see. Good to see the grit, heart, will, determination. Somebody who was able to pull it out of wanting it more, pulling out that victory out of wanting it more. That was impressive. Very, very, very impressive. Next up, Santiago Luna defeated, I don't want to say his name wrong, Angel Pacheco, right? Dude, Santiago Luna is good as shit. He knows he's good as shit. Got a little tired. He wasn't able to put Angel out right away. But the one thing, you could tell that they were definitely feeding Angel to him. But what I liked about Pacheco in this fight, in this loss, he was able to just utilize the basics, stick to his fundamentals to stay in the fight. Just stay tight, stay on his back foot. And he was catching Santiago coming in with just crisp, clean shots, staying tight, staying technical, fundamentals, 1-2s, and just tight fundamental boxing against a guy who was just going for the fucking kill. And where Santiago was landing a lot of shots, he just wasn't able to put Angel away. And it was a dominant victory. But it just, it's a good learning lesson in a victory where it's like, okay, let's maybe pick our shots a little bit better. Let's not blow our wad so early, because who knows who we're going to run into next. Going into round 3, they might hit us a little harder. But I like what I see with Santiago Luna. I think he's, 21, 22 years old. He's young as shit. It's insane. And you see the confidence. You see the ability. Ripped as fuck. It was impressive. Very, very impressive. Going down to the prelims. Ryan Gandra, dude, knocked out Jose Medina, like, quick as shit. Like, the fight was just, I remember looking up and just, it was basically over, right? Jose Medina, I'm pretty sure he's already been cut 0-4 within the UFC. Great victory for Gandra. Don't know really too much about the guy. That was kind of my first look at him. But I thought it was pretty cool to, kind of put him up at the top of the prelims, because it seemed like they knew what they were doing here with this matchup. It was so clear and decisive, right? Aylin Perez defeated Macy Chiasson. Macy had a really good first round, but just after that wasn't, I don't know what I think, is it the weight cut? She just hasn't looked the same in a while now. Has missed weight. Has just made major mistakes in the past. And I don't know. I feel like I'm off the Macy Chiasson train. I know that Aylin Perez she is very good. She is super legit. And just to see her kind of battle back from that first round and just get the fight to the ground and just kind of, do what she had to do to get the victory, right? Just had to grind out a tough victory. But Macy really just didn't show all that much fight in the fight after that first round, which is strange, because she's normally somebody who I would normally expect to dig deep and get those scrambles, get those sweeps, get those reversals on the ground, make it dirty, get in the clinch. She just was not able to make it happen against Aylin Perez as the fight progressed. Next up, Christian Quiones defeated Chris Moutinho. I mean, my gosh, Chris Moutinho. Just want to see him get his hand raised in the UFC at this point. Tough as shit, tough as nails, the Homer Simpson of the UFC. And I say that with, all the respect. I'm a big fan of Chris. I was, big advocate in him getting back into the UFC after he got cut the first time. He's a dog. He goes for it, hands down, chin up. He goes for it. He is good on he's a good jiu-jitsu on the ground, good defensive jiu-jitsu. We saw him defending a lot of tough submissions in this fight. Is good fight for Christian Quiones. He looked good in victory. He looked slick. He knew kind of what he had to do and just kind of, utilize footwork, utilize versatility, vertical movement, and just stay on his horse. Stay on, just keep moving, just pepper shots. And eventually, you're going to break Chris up, break him down. And, it's not going to be an easy victory. It's one of those where you have to really stick to the game plan. But Christian Quiones was able to do that in this fight and just pull out a, solid victory over a guy like Chris Moutinho, who's just a fucking little pit bull. Just a fucking dog, right? Fucking dog. Next up, Javier Reyes knocked out Douglas Silva de Andrade. I mean, here with Douglas, right, you could just see he's 40 now. You can just kind of see it. Not in his physique, but in the way that his body moves. He just seems a little bit more stiff. He's not as fluid as he used to be. And he's kind of just a little bit stationary, flat-footed, and a guy who is very, who was once light-footed, moved like water in a sense, right? But big win for Javier Reyes, good victory with Douglas Silva de Andrade. He's been in the UFC for a long time. It's just, I don't know what you do with him next. Next up, Regina Tarrin defeated Ernesta Caricate. And that fight, dude, these girls threw the fuck down. From start to finish, just absolute dogfight, right? I mean, just stood in front of each other, traded shots. It's almost like even in defeat, Ernesta gained hype, right? Like, nobody really truly lost this fight in the sense of just like, hype and respect. It's, you don't see this as often in women's MMA. So when you do see these high level barn burners, like these technical, chaotic fights, girls who really just want to just throw the fuck down, respect, right? Regina went out there, got a solid victory. Yeah, solid victory, and just, probably could have been fight of the night. It's just so low in the prelims, right? Next up, Francis Marshall defeated Eric Silva. This was kind of the writing on the wall. That last fight that Francis had against Myron Santos, he definitely won that fight. That was kind of tough. He got robbed against Myron in that fight, definitely. Excuse me. So to put him against a guy like Eric Silva, who, yeah, towards the end of his career, but still very dangerous, was riding a 2-fight losing streak, but a guy who is tough, got that dad strength, and has his back against the wall, he's going to look to make a point, especially against a guy who's, young, athletic, explosive. And Francis Marshall is 26, and I think it was about a 12, 13-year age gap here in this fight. And Francis showed it, got the fight to the ground, got the submission pretty quickly, about 2 minutes, about 2.5 minutes into the fight. And good for Francis. This kid, we see him blossom in front of our eyes. We're seeing the confidence. We're seeing him a bit, mix in the martial arts, right? Like, he's able to just kind of be a little bit more fluid with it, utilize his striking with his wrestling and all that, and just kind of put it all together and find the finish. And that's just something that the UFC is really looking for. And he definitely passed the test that they were looking for him to pass. He passed it with flying colors here against Eric Silva. Last but not least, Damian Pinas knocks out Wesley Schultz. I mean, holy shit, right? One of the most beautiful 1-2s that we've seen. He was putting Wesley down like it was nothing. He was just touching him, and he was falling. He was folding like a lawn chair. And you could see where Wesley was just trying. He was a dog, but he was just getting hit with like thunderous shots that looked like it was just nothing, just so technical. And, Damian, shotgun Pinas. Damian, look at this, Pinas. Damian, big dick, Pinas. I mean, this guy, welcome to the UFC, and someone to watch, right? I mean, clearly is an anomaly when it comes to the power standpoint. I know Wesley, isn't considered a striker, right? But to see that passes a massive eye test, at least for myself. And whatever Damian does here in the future, it's going to be fun. Can't wait to say his name over and over again. That was the gayest shit I ever said in my life. Hope nobody makes it this far in the video. Anyways, all right, guys, that's going to do it for today. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on the video. Pretty fun fight night. This week we got BMF, UFC 326, Holloway versus Oliveira. Might be doing that one tonight, just the main event, and kind of getting into the rest of it tomorrow. But yeah, that's going to do it for today, guys. Mr. Mustache, MMA News out. Let's fucking go, fight fans.